Hey, 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 happy Tuesday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, 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 gang. Welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang Dispatch, brought to you by thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard. Tonight is Tuesday, April 27th, 2021. This is live stream 655. If this is your first time joining me, let me point out tonight is going to be like most nights. About half the show I devote to the latest in tabletop gaming news, and the other half, we take a first look at a tabletop gaming release, be it a board game, role-playing game, sometimes miniatures rules. You have it. I try to bring it to you. So tonight, I am going to unbox and take a first look at Monster Expedition, which is from Amigo Games. This is just hitting stores right now. It is available. So this is not a preview of something that hasn't hit stores yet. Of course, this is your, if you're a veteran of watching the show and you've been hanging out for quite some time, spending your, hours wasting away with me, welcome back. Always appreciate that all the time. All right. So anyway, I also want to point out, if you like this video, by all means, give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube, it'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my recent review for In Magnificent Style, which is from Worthington Publishing. It is a solitaire American Civil War game that simulates, it's a push your luck dice chucking game, but it does simulate Pickett's charge during the third day of the Battle of Gettysburg. And I liked it. Did ding it a little, but I did like it. So if you have not checked that review out, by all means, please do. Of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Lastly, this is a live stream. So that means chat is available. It is not on screen. It's one of the ways that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But I do my best to pay attention to chat. So if you want to say howdy, maybe you got a question, a comment, by all means, please chime in, and I will do my best to respond. So first out the gate tonight was Sarah D saying hello. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Clint Gibson, a great A's with us. The Motor City Madman himself. Yes, the Madman is with us. Also, he is one of our chat moderators. And Pickles is in chat. So right off the bat, we got a good chat rocking and rolling tonight. So very cool. Very nice. Do want to point out, I am stone cold sober tonight. Unlike last night's show, I mean, it wasn't like I was ripped or anything, but I was, a little buzzed. I'll point that out. I got to say, I was actually very surprised how little I screwed up, especially reading the teleprompter with the tabletop gaming news of the day. There were a couple of items that I stumbled over, but that's kind of par for the course for me. I kind of use English as a second language. But tonight, I'm just drinking good old, tonight it's Coca-Cola Zero. I think that's it. Is that what it, oh, I'm sorry, zero sugar. Coke. So that's what was on sale. That's what I picked up. I do have to mention that I was running around all day today. If you follow the show, I mentioned that I had an appointment down in downtown Chicago today. Oh my gosh. It was like, it was in the mid 80s. And of course, get down there and it's bumper to bumper pretty slow, even though it was not rush hour by any stretch of the imagination. And I drive an older car, and I am not going to risk overheating my car on a highway in downtown Chicago. It ain't happening, Dooley. So I did not have the AC running, and wow, it was pretty warm. I even got like a little bit of a heat rash on my neck. So, so Grady was asking, was there an occasion? Yeah, Grady popped in late last night. My uncle's funeral was yesterday, and it's an Irish funeral, very similar to an Irish wake. So that's why I was a little snockered, a little bit, not a lot, just a little bit. I bet most people tuned in after, I mentioned that to start off the show, didn't even know. So I should mention, it's kind of funny. If you had never listened to the old episodes of the podcast that Elliot Miller and I used to do for the Gaming Gang, they are pretty funny. And I was in Arizona and he was back in the Chicagoland area. And of course, we were doing it, I'm recording my half, he's recording his half, and then I would put it together. So it sounded like we're in the same room. And I used to knock back a couple of cocktails before starting that show, before we'd start recording. So, kind of took the edge off, kind of got us joking around about different stuff. If you want to hear, in my opinion, the funniest episode of the old podcast, do a search on thegaminggang.com for Robinson Crusoe. I swear I could tell that Elliot had tears in his eyes during the news piece for Portal Games Robinson Crusoe because it made absolutely no sense. So Grade A says, if you're Irish, every day is an occasion. I wouldn't say that. I got to be honest, out of the various, and I don't want to get into like stereotypes or anything like that. But I was going to say, at least in Chicago, I found that the Poles were much bigger drinkers than the people like family members and friends who are Irish of mine. So I don't know. I don't know. All right. Anyway, we are going to jump on into the news because I got a bunch of news tonight. So first off, nearing the end of its Kickstarter run for Gunpowder Studios is 7 Moons, Heroes of Dragon Reach. Here's what I know. 7 Moons is an original family board game from Gunpowder Studios, set in a mythical, magical world of dragons and monsters, where 1 to 4 players seek to save the beautiful kingdom of Dragon Reach from the impending Shadow Army. In 7 Moons, you play a royal emissary sent out by your monarch into the kingdom to organize the defense of your city against the approaching Shadow Army. You'll travel the lands, buying and selling resources to fill your war chest, building defenses, recruiting armies, and completing quests. You have little time and much to do, so choose your strategy wisely. Those best prepared have the greatest chance of surviving the monstrous onslaught. The rest will not live to see another moon. 7 Moons plays simply and smoothly, but there's enough of a challenge to keep you entertained and focused game after game. That's another hallmark of every Gunpowder game. We keep our game mechanics and rules deliberately simple so that you can concentrate on your gameplay and how you're going to win. There is a short, about 2-minute Kickstarter video, give you a much better feel for 7 Moons. So let's take a peek.
War is coming to Dragon Reach. We must build defences. We must build alliances. You have your orders. In 7 Moons, you play royal emissaries sent out into the kingdom by your monarchs to organise your city's defences against the approaching Dark Army. You travel the land to prepare for war, trading resources to raise gold, seeking alliances with the other races and orders of Dragonreach, undertaking quests and strengthening your city's defences. Travel the lands on foot, horse or dragon. Buy resources and sell them for a profit at the market. Visit the domains of the witches, wizards, giants, barbarians, dwarves and elves and ally them to your city. Journey on quests to earn gold and magical items. Then, in the final shadow phase, defend against wave after wave of foul creatures as they seek to destroy the peaceful kingdom of Dragonreach. You have little time and much to do, so choose your strategy wisely. From the makers of Bag of Dungeon comes 7 Moons, a magical fantasy adventure board game. It is easy to learn and engaging to play. A mix of overland adventuring, racing against other players, trading on a volatile resources market, and a final epic battle where your decisions and achievements will be put to the test. The 7th moon approaches. Make haste. 7 Moons from Gunpowder Studios.
Seven Moons, the Heroes of Dragonreach, is for 1 to 4 players, ages 8 and up. Right there, you can tell this is not coming from a company in the U.S. because all those small pieces, it would not be ages 8 and up, I'll tell you that much. Anyway, the game takes about 30 to 60 minutes to play. This is right on the cusp of its funding. Now, I looked earlier today, and I mean, it's right there. So I don't know if it's made it over the hump. It will. I can tell it's going to because it's that close. But once again, I got to be honest. I walked in the door here about 15 minutes before the stream started. So didn't have a chance to look to see if it has funded. But you can reserve a copy of the game for a $49 pledge through May 1st with an expected delivery this September. So I see Disavowed has popped into chat and wants to play the dragon in 7 Moons because they want to burninate the countryside. So the man says, no. This looks really good to me if I don't eat this month, checking his budget. So Pickle says, is it for 1 to 4 players or 2 to 4 players? Box said 2 to 4. But the Kickstarter info says 1 to 4. So I gotta go with what they're saying on Kickstarter as far as the number of players. Not unusual to see the images shared not match up with the number of players in Kickstarters. I've seen that before. So according to the Kickstarter page, it is 1 to 4 players. All right, on to the next news piece. Arriving in June is a special 2-player set for Epic Card Game. Here's the skinny from Wise Wizard Games about Duels. Duels is an easy-to-learn 2-player starter set. It's perfect for new players and a complete game on its own and fully compatible with all other Epic sets. Duels only uses 4 keywords and includes a step-by-step walkthrough for beginners. While it focuses on simpler gameplay, it is balanced with other Epic sets and is still a great addition to experienced players' collections. The box includes 60 all-new game cards, 34 token cards, scorecards, rules reference cards, gold trackers, and a rulebook. While Epic gives you the full trading card game experience at a tiny fraction of the cost, Epic is not a trading card game. There are no random packs or hard to get cards. When you buy the game, you get everything you need to play. You know exactly what cards you're getting. There are going to be more expansions down the road, but of course, they're optional. You can literally play and enjoy hundreds of games just with this base set. Duels is for 2 players, ages 13 and up, plays in about 20 to 40 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $19.99 when it arrives in June. See, I have played Epic. I like Epic. It's kind of funny because the core game is up to 4 players, and it's just a deck. So anyway, I was going to say that what you're looking at is a kind of a CCG experience without actually investing in a lot of garbage cards you're going to toss. So I do like it. I got to be honest. I really like Hero Realms from now it's Wise Wizard Games. It used to be White Wizard Games, and then they recently changed the name of the company. I really do. In fact, I like Hero Realms more than I like Star Realms. I know, and some people are like, "What? How do you like Hero Realms more than Star Realms?" I just do. And Epic is a little bit similar to the Realms games that are from Wise Wizard. So this will be arriving in June, carrying basically a $20 MSRP. I know it's not Wargame Wednesday, but I am going to share some GMT news because the 10th volume in the Battles of the American Revolution series is up on the GMT Games P500 pre-order. Here's the dope on the Battle of White Plains. As it occurred, the Battle of White Plains could properly be called the Battle for Chatterton Hill. This relatively limited affair, fought on the American right flank on October 28th, 1776, was the only set-piece action between the two protagonists. Here, some 4,000 British and Hessian troops attacked fewer than 2,000 Americans, with the king's forces ultimately prevailing. The main armies, however, were enormous for the period, with 14,500 Americans confronting 13,000 British and Hessians, who were eventually reinforced to 15,400, making this one of the largest concentrations of opposing troops during the war and the largest game in the Battles of the American Revolution series to date. Yet, despite this concentration of forces along a front barely 3 miles long, the armies sat primarily idle after the fight for Chatterton Hill, while the British probed at the flanks and the Americans improved their defenses. The game includes 3 scenarios: the historical fight for Chatterton Hill, an October 31st scenario that explores what might have occurred if Howe had pressed his grand assault that day as planned, and a full 4-day campaign game spanning 42 game turns, beginning with the arrival of the British Army on the field on the morning of October 28th and culminating at 5 p.m. on October 31st. Each player has 26 opportunity cards subdivided into 3 decks to enhance play and add elements of variety and historical flavor. As with previous games in this series, some special rules represent the unique circumstances of this battle. Among these are rules governing American sortie restrictions and tactical doctrine, rain game turns, restoring army morale, scorched earth, and additional handicaps for American militia, American fieldwork construction, and an off-board movement mechanism for Tarrytown on the Hudson River, 7 miles away, where British ships lay at anchor. Even Washington's own combat prowess at this early stage of the war is randomized. In Volume 10 of the Battles of the American Revolution series, players command 2 titanic armies. Washington, desperate to salvage something from the otherwise disastrous defense of New York, and how seeking the coup de grace against the Old Fox. You'll have to manage your forces over the span of 4 days with lots of inclement weather to contend with. Can you, as General Howe, break through the American line to deliver the decisive blow and end the rebellion? Can you, as General Washington, hold your own on superior ground, hampered as you will be with some 6,700 militia of dubious quality, fully 46% of the total American force? Battles of the American Revolution, Volume 10, Battle of White Plains, is for 1 or 2 players, ages 14 and up, and currently can be pre-ordered for $48 with an expected MSRP of $69 when it goes to retail. Nah. So there you have it, another of the battles of the American Revolution. And interestingly enough, I wish I had more images of the show. This is all really that GMT sharing at the moment. But I thought it's kind of interesting because the actual historical battle is rather small, but the possible campaign is pretty big. And as mentioned in the news piece here, it's actually the biggest of the Battle of the Revolution games in the series. So I thought that was pretty wild. I thought that was pretty cool. So Disavowed had mentioned, yeah, Hero Realms is a great game. So Pickles is asking, is this really colorful or is it just me? As far as I believe it was epic at that time. So a great ace talking about My Father's Work by Renegade Game Studios. Yes, that's on tomorrow's news. So we will talk about that. You got to remember, because I had the funeral yesterday and then I had that appointment today, I got my news for these two shows way ahead of time. I put these way ahead of time together so that in case I got here last minute, which I did, I would be able to do a show. But yes, we will talk about My Father's Work on tomorrow's show, and it does look pretty interesting. It does look like a pretty cool game that might have a little meat on its bones. Because sometimes the Renegade Game Studios releases, some are a little heavier, but some are super, super light. This does not look super, super light. So Pickle says they were talking about 7 Moons looking pretty colorful. Oh, wow. Very cool. Gary says GMT games always look great. Gary Clarkson's with us in chat. Good to see you, Gary. All right. So we're going to move on to some role-playing game news, and I am going to be talking about the gaming goodness that is arriving from Paizo Inc. for both Pathfinder and Starfinder, what's arriving in June. And whenever I do these, this is a longer news piece. So if you have no interest in Pathfinder or Starfinder, you might want to go make a sandwich. Or, take the dog for a quick walk or enjoy an adult beverage. Just letting you know. All right, first off, we have Pathfinder Adventure Path 168, King of the Mountain. It is the conclusion of the Fists of the Ruby Phoenix Adventure Path. The house has stood abandoned on its lonely hilltop, brooding quietly over the ruins of a once thriving town for decades. No one has lived within its walls since the night a terrific storm flooded the coastal town below, and since a tragedy struck down the noble family that once dwelt within. But now, the mansion has attracted the attention of a curious group of adventurers. What is the truth behind the tragic past that empowers the evil that grips the mansion today? And what might happen to the world of Golarion if the sinister influences that grow within these haunted walls are allowed to build beyond the breaking point? This is a... Wait a second. What? How? Suddenly they're talking about a different adventure? I don't know, because because it says Malevolence is a horror-themed adventure for third-level characters. Well, that can't be right. That's weird. All right. Hey, I just pulled it from Paizo. All I can tell you is I thought this was the conclusion to the Fists of the Ruby Phoenix adventure path, but it seems like this is a one shot called Malevolence. So I don't happen to have a shot of it, but Malevolence is a horror themed adventure for third level characters written by James Jacobs, featuring sinister new monsters, mysterious magical items, and spells to discover, and a fully detailed haunted house for players to explore, exercise, and endure. With an immersive method of researching the history and truths of the mansion's magic and macabre secrets through visions, dreams, and good old fashioned ghost hunting and investigation, Malevolence is ready to test the limits of any heroic party's bravery. This will carry an MSRP of $22.99. Then, now I know this is right. I know this is correct. Pathfinder Lost Omens, the Mwanji. I think that's how it's pronounced. I'm not positive. The Mwanji Expanse. South of a forbidding range of mountain peaks lies a land of boundless resources and untold opportunity. Wakanda. No, it's not. It's the Mwanji Expanse, which has been home to an untold diversity of cultures and peoples since time immemorial, hosting powerful, isolated city-states that often paid little attention to their neighbors. Yet the turning tides of fortune have begun to usher in changes that are rippling across the world. As a band of scholars from an ancient university venture north to aid a disaster-torn Aveston, a revolution-forged nation seeks powerful allies against foreign aggression. An undead god, once a symbol of hope to his declining nation, now grows jealous enough to turn on his self-proclaimed kin. Whether you're a diplomat seeking leverage for the most difficult of positions, a spy seeking the subtlest hint of danger from your surroundings, a guardian hoping to protect your home and people, or a warrior striking back at tyrants, both native and foreign, this guide to the Mwanji Expanse offers you the ultimate resource to explore a realm of magic, monsters, and intrigue. This is going to be a hardcover. It's going to carry an MSRP of $49.99. It'll be available in PDF for $34.99. Not a huge difference there. I think I would go with the hardcover. That's just me. All right, we also have the Pathfinder Abomination Vaults Pawn Collection. Dungeon denizens from the Abomination Vaults Adventure Path are ready to rise from the depths and face your players on the tabletop. The Abomination Vaults Pawn Collection features more than 150 creature pawns for use with the Pathfinder role-playing game, or really any tabletop fantasy RPG. Printed on sturdy cardstock, each pawn presents a beautiful full-color image of a monster or NPC from the Abomination Vaults campaign, including creepy aberrations, sneaky hunters, subterranean horrors, and cautious allies that might spell the difference between victory and death in the darkness. The Abomination Vaults Pawn Collection, together with the creatures and bases from the Pathfinder Bestiary Pawn Box Collection, or the Pathfinder Pawns Base Assortment, provides pawns for nearly all Abomination's Vaults encounters. Each cardstock pawn slots into a size-appropriate plastic base from any of the Bestiary Box collections, making the pawns easy to mix with traditional metal or plastic miniatures. With tons of distinct images, the Abomination Vaults Pawn Collection brings to life the enemies and allies from all three adventures of the Abomination Vaults Adventure Path. If you want the physical pawns, they will carry an MSRP of $24.99. They will also be available for $17.99. And our final Pathfinder item is the Pathfinder Flip Mat Classic Museum. While a museum is meant to be a place of learning and wonder, it's no surprise at just how often adventures pop up within them. There's always a fresh new surprise waiting at the museum, and no game master wants to put the action on pause to draw every exhibit room and display case. Fortunately, you don't have to. This lineup of gaming maps provides ready-to-use and captivatingly detailed fantasy set pieces for the busy game master. Whether the heroes are simply visiting the museum to research a mystery or been hired to handle a problem within an exhibit itself, this double-sided combat map features a classic museum for you to use at your table. Don't waste your time sketching when you could be playing. With Pathfinder Flipmat Classics Museum, you'll be ready next time your players come looking for answers. This will carry an MSRP of $14.99. So let's talk about some Starfinder. Because who just said that they thought Starfinder looks really cool? Who was it? Was that Gary? No, Disavowed92. I think I like Starfinder. I like Pathfinder too. I'm one of these. See, I'm a reviewer, so I've got it good. I don't necessarily have to sit there and be like, oh, it's gotta be D&D. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. That's what's pretty cool. All right. Anyway, so we've got the Starfinder Adventure Path 40 Planetfall. This is part 1 of 6 for the Horizons of the Vast Adventure Path. With the discovery of an uncharted, resource-rich, and uninhabited planet in the vast, several factions began a joint settlement effort, and the heroes are given the chance to be the scouts and administrators of one such charter. As they explore the surrounding wilderness and grow their new settlement, they must contend with all manner of problems, from wild animal attacks to dissatisfied settlers, and the planet holds mysteries beyond counting. Planetfall is a Starfinder role-playing game adventure for 4 first-level characters. This adventure begins the Horizons of the Vast Adventure Path, a 6-part bi-monthly campaign in which the heroes are at the forefront of exploring and charting a world filled with mystery. This volume also includes a new system for expanding a fledgling settlement on a new planet, a player's guide, and a selection of strange alien creatures. Each bi-monthly full-color softcover Starfinder Adventure Path volume, say that 5 times fast, contains a new installment of a series of interconnected science fantasy quests that together create a fully developed plot of sweeping scale and epic challenges. Each 64-page volume of the Starfinder Adventure Path also contains in-depth articles that detail and expand the Starfinder campaign setting and provide new rules, a host of exciting new monsters and alien races, a new planet to explore, and starship to pilot, and more. The softcover carries an MSRP of $22.99. The PDF will be available for $15.99. I will get on to the next item. There are 2 more Starfinder releases for June. I talk major releases. Did anybody catch that the Starfinder Adventure Paths are bi-monthly? Isn't that new? I think that's new. It used to be every month. So here becomes my question. So are they going to be truly bi-monthly? Because bi-monthly means twice a month. In comic book jargon, which is how I know about these bi-monthly, bi-weekly kind of. So bi-weekly should mean twice a week. But that's not necessarily how it's interpreted. So I'm kind of getting the impression that we are going to see the Starfinder releases, at least for the Adventure Path, every other month. Kind of interesting. All right, moving right along. We have the Starfinder Galaxy Exploration Manual. The worlds of infinite space are yours to discover with the Galaxy Exploration Manual. This all-new Starfinder Rules expansion hardcover for players and game masters focuses on trailblazing exploration-based play across an expansive variety of unusual planets packed with deadly dangers and thrilling possibilities for adventure. The Galaxy Exploration Manual contains new class options for every Starfinder class, an extensive player character background generator, new equipment from personal items to grenades, medicinals, and serums. Rules for creating and exploring sensational science fantasy worlds ranging from a huge variety of planets to asteroids, satellites, colony ships, and more. Extensive details on 12 different environmental biomes like airborne, desert, space, subterranean, or urban, with systems for generating its inhabitants, threats, and adventure hooks, and tons of unique player character options. Rules for creating and expanding a world's culture from magic to religion to technology. Also includes GM tactics and advice for running exciting open-ended space exploration campaigns. This will be available in hardcover and carry an MSRP of $39.99. Our final Paizo release is also for Starfinder. It is the Starfinder Flip Tiles Space Station Docking Bay Expansion. Docking sequence activated. Next time your players are ready to visit a new space station, they won't have to wait while you draw every cargo lifter and shipping container. Starfinder Flip Tiles Space Station Docking Bay Expansion provides beautifully illustrated 6-inch by 6-inch map tiles that can be used to enhance your station with landing pads, catwalks, a refueling station, and an expansive open docking bay to explore. Inside, you'll find 24 richly crafted double-sided map tiles. This expansion set, along with Starfinder Flip Tiles Space Station Starter Set, allows you to create futuristic space habitats with endless variety. Suitable for experienced GMs and novices alike, because they're just simply tiles. This product fits perfectly in any game master's arsenal. Wet, dry, and permanent markers erase from the tiles. These double-sided city tiles come in convenient packaging for easy storage. They're actually double-sided space station tiles. Somebody cut and paste that, I guess. All right, and that's going to carry an MSRP of $19.99. All of these releases, except maybe that Haunted House Malevolence adventure, that might be a May release. Somehow that got snuck in there somehow. Anyway, everything else I talked about is slated to hit stores in late June. So keep your eyes peeled with that. Wow, I need to take a sip. It's like nonstop talking. Ay, ay, ay. All right, so Gary is talking about selling something on Starfinder Minis, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, usually when I get into a long news piece like that, I miss all the stuff going on in chat. So hopefully nobody asked me a question that's completely zipped on past. All right, here comes my final news piece, because Dr. Greg Gillespie's well-received Highfell, the Drifting Dungeon OSR adventure, is now available in print and PDF for 5E. Here's the deets. It's a new 5E mega dungeon. Well, I guess it's not really new, but it's new for 5E. From Three Castles Award winner and Barrow Maze author Dr. Greg Gillespie. Local villagers call for aid. An eerie green light appeared atop the Dwimmerhorn Mountain. The light came from Highfell, the ruins of an ancient wizard school. The infernal blaze grew until a great explosion rocked the mountain. Like a massive floating island, Highfell pulled away from the mountaintop and now slowly drifts across the Great Salt Reach. What happened to Highfell? Why does it float eerily across the landscape? Are you brave or foolish enough to explore the ruins of Highfell, the Drifting Dungeon? Highfell, the Drifting Dungeon is a 246-page classic old-school mega dungeon for use with the 5E fantasy role-playing game. What would that be? The pages of Highfell are crammed full with new material, maps, and art, including a color cover by XTSR artist Errol Otis. That actually matches the Barrow Maze Complete and the Forbidden Caverns of Archaea as sister books. Highfell, the Drifting Dungeon will keep your players on their toes and your campaign going strong for years. Highfell is brought to you by the Old School Renaissance, so don't forget your 10-foot pole. This project was created through a group of awesome backers from Kickstarter. Without them, this project wouldn't have happened. So, big thanks for their support. The 246-page adventure is available from DriveThruRPG in hardcover. It is a premium hardcover for $70.99. You can snag the PDF alone for $35. Gotta say, pricey. Gots to say, I find that to be pretty pricey. But something else I will say is Dr. Gillespie really does some cool stuff for OSR role-playing games. Going to float that out there. So, and there's a lot going on. Typically what I find, now I'll be the first to point out, I have not seen this 5th edition port of Highfell. But normally what you find in an OSR adventure is you have, this is just my opinion, you have far less fluff and backstory that would never see the time of day as far as your game table, unless you're one of those game masters who info dumps on players. I know you don't do that. Don't do that. You guys are all good. I know that. Anyway. So there you go. The Madman's like, that's it. No more talking about selling stuff on Board Game Geek. The Madman's getting ready to bust out the ban hammer. You guys can talk about whatever. That's fine. It's okay. The only time when chat gets hijacked, that it's always a great A. Not really, but I was gonna say if we're like talking about something and people are like commenting on that, and then somebody is like way off base, they're like completely off topic and just going on about it. But that really rarely ever happens. So I don't, I don't get worked up about it. All right. So we're going to be looking at Monster Expedition in a minute. Before we do, so I wanted to point out, I'm transparent. I tell you folks what's going on. So anyway, I had this appointment today. I have to have some dental surgery. And it might knock me out of action a little bit. My fingers are crossed that it may only be, and it's going to be an ongoing thing, that it might only be like a day or two at a time. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. And got to point out, it's going to pretty much wipe out any of my possible convention coverage this year. So there's that too. Yeah. All right. Anyway, I just thought I'd let folks know, because people are, most of you out there who watch, I had a heart attack a little more than 2 years ago, near fatal heart attack, actually. And so sometimes when I mention, oh yeah, I have an appointment and stuff like that, it's usually go see my cardiologist or my GP. This was not the case. So I'm feeling fine. I'm okay. Knock on wood, right? Who knows? I could get up and pass out. Never know. Just like, I don't know if you're football fans. Anybody's a football fan out here. And I swear, we will get into Monster Expedition in a second. I had to laugh, because, of course, the NFL draft starts Thursday. And the coach of the San Francisco 49ers was asked about what was going on with, like, the draft. Would, gosh, now I can't remember his first name. Garofalo. Jimmy Garofalo. I kept wanting to say Johnny, and I'm like, no, it's not Johnny. So, oh my gosh, Pickles just mentioned some really bad news. Wow. I'm very sorry to hear that. Yikes. Well, all the best. So I'm sending good vibes your way, Pickles. Anyway, wow, that threw me. Sorry. Anyway, so the coach of the 49ers was asked if Garoppolo will still be on the roster after this weekend, because right, you've got the draft. And Kyle Shanahan, who's the coach of the 49ers, said, I'm going to paraphrase a little bit, but he said, we don't know who in the world might still be alive on Sunday. So I don't know. I can't guarantee anybody's place on the roster on Sunday. It was like, what? Where the hell did you come up with that? It's like, man, that's just too bizarre. So, yes, everybody's sending out good thoughts Pickles' way. Hopefully things will work out. I actually know somebody who is waiting for a liver transplant. Their problem was, and usually if you're an alcoholic, it's not too easy to get yourself a transplant. And I don't blame them. I don't blame the doctors. It's like, all right. Anyway, so yeah, sorry. I see her here. I didn't mean to like spurn on like bad news for people. So, all right. We're going to take a look at Monster Expedition, which is from Amigo Games, in just a second. If you're watching live, we're going to be jumping right in. If you're watching after the fact, after the stream ends, about 12 hours after it ends, this is about the part where you're going to see an ad. So just bear with it, hang out, and we'll be jumping right in. All right, without further ado, we're taking a look at Monster Expedition from Amigo Games. It is designed by Alexander Pfister, with artwork provided by Dennis Lohausen, Michael Menzel, and Oliver Schlemmer. I think that's how it's pronounced. This game is for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, plays in around 30 minutes, does carry an MSRP of $19.99. This is just arriving in stores now. So let's swing on over to the other camera because, ta-da, here we have Monster Expedition. So this is set in the same like game world as Carnival of Monsters, which is also from Amigo Games. That was designed by Richard Garfield. I liked it. I thought that was a very cool game. Not super, super deep, but it was actually deeper than I was expecting it to play. Really, really like that game. And if you haven't checked out my review of Carnival of Monsters, by all means, give it a peek. So I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to get this shrink wrap off. And I got to say, for a $20 game, this looks pretty interesting because, for one, it's got some cool artwork. That was one of the things I really liked about Carnival of Monsters was the artwork as well. I'm not going to read everything on the back here, but I will read this portion up here. It says, welcome to the Royal Monsterological Society. You're about to embark on an adventure to 3 exotic ecosystems, each teeming with legendary monsters. Manage your dice rolls carefully. They'll help you capture the most ferocious creatures, many of whose powers you can harness to ensnare additional beasts. You can also purchase or steal cages that allow you to keep your catch secret from the other players. But the key to success is using the dice to build up your base camp in this standalone game set in the world of Carnival of Monsters. All right, so let's pop this on open. Let's take a peek at the rule book. Pretty slim rule book here. All right, so we have got The components, talking about the goal and the setup of the game. So we've got a variety of dice. So it says each player picks a hunting party and takes their 9 coats of arms. And you'll get 3 camps. Talking about playing the game. So we have phase 1, pick a camp. Phase 2, hunt monsters. Phase 3, improve your camp. And phase 4, refill the wilderness display. I remember the Carnival of Monsters rulebook was pretty well done. It was not a big head scratcher, as sometimes we see some Euro games. Sometimes I don't know what it is. For some reason, I have a harder time wrapping my head around some European style games rule books than I do American style rule books. Maybe that's because I grew up with the Avalon Hill, case point. Oh, yes, this is rule 9.2.7.4. I don't know. So it's going through each of the phases, talking about monster abilities. And the end of the game. When the draw deck is used up, the draw deck's just all used up. Complete the current round so that each player has played the same number of turns. Then the game ends. If needed, use cards from the reverse deck for cages or to refill the wilderness display during the last round. Blah, blah, blah. So you add up the victory points on your monsters and your cages. And whoever has the most is the winner. If there's a tie, player whose camps have collectively reached the highest equipment level wins. And if there's still a tie, you have more than one winner. Let me get some solo variants. I believe there's like 10 solitaire missions. There we go, expeditions. I'm sure of varying length. Yeah, there you go. So there's the 10. All right, and then we get a little bit of bio info about the designer and our artists. So we've got that as well. So grand total, you're looking at 10 pages of rules, but we also have some examples. Got a lot of images as well. So nothing too heavy. So that is the rule book. Let's take a look. We've got a punch board. These are the coats of arms for the various different hunters. We've got, this must be kind of our main board that we probably put things around. This might be how we build like the wilderness with the different monsters. That's a possibility. All right, so then we got a bunch of chunky dice. Most of them are black, but we do have a green, a blue, and a yellow. And it looks like we've got, so this looks like this goes up to 8. So it skips. This goes up to 10. Looks like it. This also goes to 10. But it appears that we have 2 10s on 2 10 faces on the yellow. So I would take a guess they're kind of averaging dice. I know that's not really what they are, but they're not 1 through 6. These black dice all look like they are 1 through 6. Well, that's kind of funny. It's like giving you a dot so you know it's a 6. Well, it couldn't be a 9 on a 6-sided die. Could be on these other dice, but not on the black. All right, so we've got those. Then we've got a deck of cards here. This is going to be with our monsters. It looks like we've got our cages, too. Let's see what this is. You know what? We will just zoom all the way in. Let's get a better look at the cards. See what are these the camps? These might be the camp cards. Well, no, I don't think so. Although these look like camps, that looked like camps. This looks like a giant turtle. Maybe the camp is like built on the giant turtle's back. I don't know. I don't think so because we've got all these greens. We've got those. Okay, so these are the ecosystems. That's got to be what these are because remember, it says that there's 3 different ecosystems that we're looking at. So Gary says this looks like a pretty nice game. Might be something that he needs to pick up. $20. It's $19.99 is the MSRP. Now remember, that's the MSRP. And I never sit there and try to talk people out of visiting their friendly local game store. I know I have told people in the past, hey, I've seen this online for X amount. I don't tell you what retailer it is, but sometimes I'll tell you what I've seen it for. And that would upset people. And I've said it time and time again. And I know Tom Vassel's gotten in trouble for saying these kind of things too. Yet not every friendly local game store deserves, your patronage. I have encountered some. Now, granted, they were out in Arizona. Not everyone, but there were a handful of stores out there that I was like, man, you people need some serious help. All right, so it looks like we've got cages on the back, and they all have 10. Looks like it. They all have number 10 on that. Okay, so we've got another little deck of cards. So let's see what the little deck has. So these are the creatures. So this is the Kukagi. I'm taking a guess it's in all 3 of the ecosystems, maybe. So we got another one of those. We've got a couple of these oddball. These are different colors. That one's red. This one's green. Then we have a fox friend. Oh, I'm sorry, fox fiend, not fox friend, fox fiend. So let's see. Let me see something. Was there a little difference here? Yes, there was a difference in colors because I noticed here on the fox fiend, this one has almost like a mustache hanging down. That one doesn't. And then we have a monster dealer. So, and this always stays in the wilderness display. Okay, so let's see what we got with some of these other cards. We've got the slime giant, the executioner wasp. I notice we have different values on some of these. Looks like the artwork's the same. So we have a few of those. So we have 4 of those. An omnimorph. Now, this has different artwork. It's similar, but their heads are different. And that one has a head within a head. So Gary says, no friendly local game store up here in upstate New York. Closest one is over an hour away. So Pickle says maybe one's male, the other's female. That's a possibility too. I don't think there's any indication on what the gender of these creatures are. So we had a couple of shadow wings, a couple of dark gliders. We've got a vapor snail. And this vapor snail looks like they're sleeping. So we got a few of these. The Octomegadon. Big 31 points. And I'm going to guess that's the only one. A crustacean. That's kind of cool. Medusa morphs. And once again, the artwork's a little different on each of those. So we have kind of a, almost like Nessie right there. We got a bottom feeder. Sea glider. A few of those. A basilisk. It's 30, so I'm going to take a guess. Probably not going to see more than one of those. This looks like kind of a praying mantis sort of creature. So we got 4 of those. We have a bufomorph. 4 of those. We got a scaled eagle. A couple of those. Cave beast. Couple of those. Hylopoda. 3 of these. 4 of those. One of them, it looks like he's sleeping there too. And then we've got the Draco Chelonia. There's 2 of these, and they're big 30+ points. JP Falconer has joined us. Good to see you, JP. I know JP usually comments after the fact, after the shows. So, all right, so we've got that deck. We got a little tuck box here. So that's kind of cool. Got the tuck box. So we got the 2 decks of cards. One of them's a little bigger. The other one's a little smaller. We got a bunch of dice. We've got this must be like our wilderness board. And the punch board with the coats of arms. The rule book with about 10 pages of rules. And that is what we find when we take Monster Expedition outside the box. And it looked like we were all in focus for that whole thing. Guy kept kind of peeking. Well, looks okay. Looks all right. Looks okay. And of course, I will have a review of Monster Expedition in the very near future. Once again, Monster Expedition is from Amigo Games, designed by Alexander Pfister, with artwork provided by Dennis Lahausen, Michael Menzel, and Oliver Schlemmer. The game is for 1 to 4 players, ages 12 and up, plays in around 30 minutes, and carries an MSRP of $19.99, and is arriving in stores. I have seen some online retailers do have it available at less than MSRP. Once again, I'm not talking about who, but, there's that. All right. Something else I forgot to mention. I was talking about DriveThruRPG with Heifel. Of course, the gaming gang, thus the Dispatch, are affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to swing by, say, DriveThruRPG, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you do happen to make a purchase, I get a little portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters do add up. And I say it all the time. A lot of people use those links, and I really do appreciate it. Especially with what I got on the horizon. I really do appreciate it. So, anyway, before I kind of wrap up, did want to mention we were talking about Goodman Games yesterday. So it looks like so I got word back from their customer service person who, like I said, seems very nice. I have no beef with the customer service person. It's just, I get the feeling that they have it set up that they can take an order through PayPal, and it must not notify like the warehouse or something. I don't know, whatever. So I got the news today that it is shipping out, that I guess one of the items was out of stock. Of course, it was in stock when I did place the order, but I guess it was out of stock, and should be shipping out. We'll see. Fingers crossed on that. So I was happy about that, because that's Dungeon Crawl Classics, as well as the Doom of the Savage Kings adventure. So I'm going to be reviewing those. I had put up on Twitter, I had asked folks who follow the gaming gang which they would like to see a review of: Mutant Crawl Classics or Deluxe Tunnels and Trolls. And I was very surprised. Running pretty even. So I have Mutant Crawl Classics already ordered. So it is on its way. I ordered that through Amazon, and that is actually arriving tomorrow. I ordered it a week after I placed my order with Goodman Games, and that order hasn't shipped out. But the order I just placed on Amazon, and I don't have Prime. I don't order enough stuff off of Amazon to really have Prime. Is showing up tomorrow. So I am trying to get my hands on Deluxe Tunnels and Trolls. I did not realize it's sold out. I had no idea that it was sold out. So I am trying to pick it up on the secondary market. I am not going to pay way more than the MSRP on it, though. So hopefully we'll see reviews of both Mutant Crawl Classics and Deluxe Tunnels and Trolls sometime in the future. I can guarantee you're going to see the review for Mutant Crawl Classics. All right, so on tomorrow's show, it is War Game Wednesday. We're going to unbox and take a first look at the French and Indian War from Worthington Publishing. So I will also have some wargaming news as well. Gary says they would love to see Tunnels and Trolls. Like I said, I was very surprised. It's kind of running neck and neck. On Thursday's show, I will be unboxing and taking a first look at the Warhammer Age of Sigmar Soulbound starter set, which is from my pals over at Cubicle 7 Entertainment. So we will dive into some role-playing game goodness to check this out. On Thursday, I will reveal tomorrow some of the stuff that we'll be looking at next week as well. All right. So Grady says that they read that the Flying Pig Gettysburg game is 15 feet in maps. It's 15 square feet map size as far as I understand. And yes, it is from my good pal Herman Lutman. 2 N's in Herman at the end and 2 N's in Lutman at the end, I have to point out. Yes, I write his name enough. I know that it's Herman with 2 N's at the end, Lutman with 2 N's at the end of that too. So yes, I have shared some news about that. It is the final sacrifice? Something along those lines. It's a quote from John Bell Hood. And it's the full Gettysburg, full Battle of Gettysburg, all 3 days, which I'm like, that's sweet. That is very cool. But yeah, and yes, that Kickstarter is about to end. You are correct, a grade A. I think it might be today or tomorrow. I don't think it's running much later than that. It is funded. So that is out there. I would take a guess. I will probably see it once it comes out. I am going to have some D-Day and Beyond. I'm going to have a review of that, which is from Tiny Battle Publishing. Kind of the same thing as Flying Pig Games. Flying Pig Games tends to be just bigger games. And I will also have Bulge 1944 review up probably early next week. Thankfully, this weekend, I don't foresee anything occupying like a lot of my time like this past weekend was with my uncle passing and that. So I am hoping to get a few reviews out there. I know I'll get at least 2, but I'm hoping to get maybe 4 or 5 done. All right. Anyway, that's it for tonight's show. Once again, if you like this video, and if you've been watching this video, you should be liking it. Otherwise, you're left by now. By all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, ding that bell. It will not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Monday through Thursday nights right here on YouTube. It'll also let you know when I upload other videos, such as my recent review of the aforementioned Herman Lutman's in magnificent style deluxe edition from Worthington Publishing. Yes. And of course, when you're not watching videos on the Gaming Gang channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more. Be sure to get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Everybody who watched live, thank you very much. Always appreciate you taking time out of your busy lives to hang out with this knucklehead. But I know a lot of people out there don't have an opportunity to watch live. I completely get that. I love the fact that you take time to watch, even if you're watching on Memorex. And of course, I will be back tomorrow. Everybody enjoy the rest of your Tuesday night or Wednesday morning or whatever day it happens to be you're watching this. And as I wrap up all of my videos during this never-ending pandemic, I certainly hope all of you out there are being smart and staying safe.
Oh, hey, you're still here. Well, if that's the case, by all means, if you haven't subscribed to the Gaming Gang channel yet, click right here. If you'd like to see the latest episode of the Gaming Gang Dispatch, click right up there. And if you want to trust YouTube's algorithm to give you something to watch, click right there. Once again, thanks so much for watching, and everybody please wear a mask.